Numerous car makers have recalled their electric vehicles over the risk of them spontaneously catching fire while charging inside owners' garages. It's a troubling development for a technology that's meant to banish gas-guzzling internal combustion engines from public roadways, once and for all. Charging electric cars parked in personal and public parking garages occasionally catch fire, even once fully charged. Chevrolet had to recall more than 60,000 of its Bolt EVs for a second recall of its kind, advising to its customers that the cars could spontaneously combust. When EVs do catch fire, the flames can be extremely challenging to put out, as several high-profile crashes involving EVs have vividly demonstrated. But how widespread the problem is remains to be seen. There's still no evidence that EVs catch fire at higher rates than gas-powered vehicles. But the potential for disaster is there. After all, a car battery is one massive store of potential energy ready to be unleashed. In one particularly violent instance, a charging EV parked inside a garage burned so bright that it caused a neighboring vehicle to catch fire as well. If we had lived upstairs in this house, we would be dead, owner a retired engineer reported. The fire burned so hot, firemen couldn't walk up the driveway.
The battery packs of electric vehicles are quite resilient, with the lithium-ion type used in most modern EVs, capable of lasting at least 8 to 10 years before needing replacement. How much does an EV battery replacement cost? Replacing the 40 kilowatt-hour pack in a Nissan Leaf will run you thousands of dollars, but the cost of replacing the battery pack remains high. The cost of battery pack in electric car, as figures suggest, obtained January 13, 2023. On average, cost around $10,000 to $12,000. EV market growth and electric car battery costs could rise with demand, becoming high and rising faster than supply.
Cost and dangers of recycling lithium. The current lithium batteries were designed and developed in 1985. The production and the physical mining processes of lithium-ion are labor-intensive processes. Its environmental impact is a result of not properly recycling lithium batteries. Environmental impact of lithium batteries: water pollution. Lithium mining leads to the contamination of local ecosystems and water basins, which makes water consumption for people and animals in those localities harmful. The damages can be minor health damages or even death. Increased levels of carbon dioxide emission. The heavy machines that are used in the lithium extraction processes lead to an increase in carbon dioxide production, and other harmful toxins are exposed to the environment in the process. Health: respiratory issues. Lithium-ion batteries contain chemical substances that are harmful to human and animal respiratory systems. Environment conservationists are usually most affected by the pollution of these chemicals, as well as the people who live in the areas where lithium is extracted. It also kills. In both the past and recent years, there have been reports of ruined farms and carcasses of dead animals identified in and around some of the mining sites. For instance, in a small town in China, dead fish and animals were discovered in rivers that were either surrounding or near Tibetan mines. After multiple intensive pieces of research, it was discovered that the dead animals and fish were a result of leakages from pools that were abandoned for several months and years. Pollution as a result of the disposal of lithium batteries have chemicals within them such as manganese, cobalt, and nickel, which are harmful.
I think that we have to consider a lot of things. Now, it's not just the lithium, and it's not just how they're going to dispose of it. It's not just about it being combustible to the max, and it's not about the cars that have to be left to burn out because they can't put it out. Although I do understand they are working on systems to put out these particular fires. But let's just move on to one of the other pollutants, and one that's affecting populations in certain countries, and which are very dangerous, but you use them in the batteries. And we're going to go on to cobalt. Now, cobalt is mined in places like the Democratic Republic of Congo. And as you see on the first picture there's a young boy holding it out, and they go out scrounging for it. And they earn about $1 a day. And at this, they suffer great health problems. It's one of the poorest countries and corrupt countries in the world. They sell most of their cobalt to China, who then produce the batteries that from the cobalt. But the children as young as 4 are moved into slave labour. They are made to work by unscrupulous. Even children have been kidnapped and sent to work, scrounging the cobalt off the ground, and it's awful. It's awful. They grow up with respiratory problems and also skin problems, and they just have a miserable life. And because they go from children into adults and know nothing else, that's what they do. And now they've been pushed off the land, and big companies that need the cobalt more now to produce batteries have kind of pushed them into the sidelines, and there's thousands and thousands of them scrimping and trying to scrape a living off what's left over. So think on about the human cost of your electric vehicle. Think on about these children that are getting all this all this cobalt out of the ground, and you can sit in your nice car and don't worry about it. Also, the amount of rubble that I'll just go back to the lithium for a moment, and how it's destroying the landscapes in many places. I mean, there's already places where the scientists have been where there's been lots of fish found in pools that have been abandoned after they've done what they've done with them, and they've leaked into the ecosystem, and they've killed fish and also carcasses of dead animals. So this is the cost. You say us old people don't know anything. I'm sorry that it's so bad today, because I am flying blind. I can't hear what I'm saying, but I'm trying my best to get through it. I do apologise. But anyway, again, I'll get back to you. So as you can see, producing your beautiful new EV, which is going to cost you an absolute fortune, has a great impact on the environment, and it has a great impact on human pollution, in polluting the lives of humans in the countries where there's lots and lots of lithium. And the slavery that goes on, as little as 4 years old, they're out in the fields where they gather the cobalt from, and there they are gathering it in, and they're earning 60 cents to $1 a day, and it's mostly Chinese buyers that buy it, and off it goes, who incidentally use lots of fossil fuels and never going to reduce their carbon footprint anyway. But I digress. I don't really care about that. I just think that you're being conned. I think people are being conned into buying these stupid EVs, which are going to have a life, not a long life, and they're very expensive, and if they go wrong big time. Your battery leaks and it's a fire. If there was people, well, it's already, I think it was in Japan, a guy parked his, I was reading something, and he parked his new EV, and the battery leaked and it caught fire. And luckily his neighbour saw it and they got him out. But it didn't only destroy his car, it destroyed the next door neighbour's garage and car, and the place was completely full of chemicals. If they didn't have got out when they did, they would have been dead. So think on about these beautiful EVs that are being pushed on you, and it's not right, because there's an alternative, and I don't know why the alternative is not being pushed onto you, or pushed the same way, and the infrastructure is already there. I think people who know me know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about hydrogen cars. Now, hydrogen cars are something else, and believe me, they really are. And there's two types of engine, but we'll let somebody else explain that to you better than me, because I am old. I'm 70 this month, yay! And I think the hydrogen's way forward. And just as a little counter to that, I must say that people like Lord Banford, who runs JCB, the big company that makes all the backhoes and things, he spent fortunes, and he's already got the backhoes. They already run on hydrogen, and he's just produced an engine for a truck as well. And there is some vehicles, large vehicles, that already use it. And in the state of California, there's about 16,000 of these things running around. In Germany, they've got them, and to fill them up is unbelievable. We'll come to that. So, how are we doing? I don't know how we're doing. All I do know that we're not doing well with lithium batteries, and we're not doing well with EVs. In fact, I really do think that you're going to end up actually in a very bad way if you have one of these. But I digress, and I'm going to go back now and tell you all the good things about hydrogen cars, especially if you're a petrol head, because one of them is it's just like an internal combustion engine, but only has the exhaust. It only chucks water out the back. So there you go. So let's have a look, shall we? Here we go. I kept quiet there because I wanted you to hear the engine. That engine was the engine of an hydrogen car, the one that works like a internal combustion engine, like the one in your car. Exactly the same, more or less. And I have been told that you can convert your engines to it, and that's good. So let's have a look at first at the engine which is called the IC engine, which is the engine that runs like a normal car engine but has no pollution.
And now, let's find out how a hydrogen car runs with an internal combustion engine. These types of vehicles are different from hydrogen fuel cell vehicles due to the combustion process. The hydrogen IC engine is a modified version of the conventional gasoline-powered engine. Hydrogen engines are actually similar to gas-powered motors in a lot of ways. They both use a 4-stroke design for intake, compression, ignition, and exhaust, and both make the same sorts of sound. Hydrogen motors produce water as the main byproduct of their combustion cycle. Because of the heat also produced by the engine, there are still some harmful emissions, but not nearly as much as a normal gas engine produced. And now, let's find out how a hydrogen car runs with an internal combustion engine. These types of vehicles are different.
Oh well, you just found out. I was going to show you again. But like I say, I do apologise because I can't, you can hear what I'm saying, and but I can't hear anything, so I'm just sort of talking into the microphone and changing everything in a blind way. Hopefully by next week I'll have it right, but we'll have a bit of fun later on because I'm not going to be serious about everything. Right, so there you can see that's the first engine. The other engine which you could go for is the one like an EV, but it makes its own fuel. It works on the hydrogen. So have a look at this one. This is the engine. If you're not into internal combustion engines, you might like to have this one.
Let's find out how a hydrogen-powered car runs with fuel cells. So a hydrogen-powered car is powered with an electric motor. It consists of a fuel cell, a device that takes chemical energy, in the form of hydrogen, and turns it into electricity, that can power an electric motor, just like a battery. First, hydrogen stored in a tank, that is thick-walled, and crash-tested, and usually under the rear seat, is mixed with air, and pumped into the fuel cell. Inside the cell, a chemical reaction extracts electrons from the hydrogen. The leftover hydrogen protons move across the cell and combine with oxygen from the air to produce water. Meanwhile, the electrons create electricity, which charges a small storage battery, used to power an electric drivetrain, just like in an electric vehicle. This is why the vehicles are called fuel cell electric vehicles. Let's find out how a hydrogen-powered car runs with fuel cells. So a hydrogen-powered car is powered with an electric.
So I think we got through that all right. I think we've actually seen it. Hopefully we did, but you get the picture. And the thing is, hydrogen doesn't pollute the atmosphere. Hydrogen is available throughout the universe in unlimited supplies, and I'm going to go deeper into it. And it's a really, really good way of cutting down on your emissions. Personally, and because I am the age I don't believe that it's all down to man, all this eco stuff. I believe that maybe we have an impact, but the world changes and has changed from time immemorial from when it begun. But I'm trying to do my little bit, and I'm still wondering why people are still buying EVs when hydrogen cars are there. And the other thing is that the people, the infrastructure's not there. Well, everywhere there's garages, and hydrogen can be transported from the storage, where it's not like electricity, where with electricity you use it or you lose it, because if you wanted to store it the way that it's made, whether it's the eco type or whatever, you can't store it, you have to use it, don't you? You know, the batteries, you'd have to have batteries the size of the Empire State Building if you were going to try and store the electricity that you make. But with hydrogen, and I don't understand why the UK especially are not pushing this, because they have so many garages, it's just another tank and away you go. It takes 5 minutes to fill. I'll be showing you a little video about that as well. 5 minutes to fill and the job's done. The car's there. It's fantastic. What can I say? But anyway, so that's the two types of engine that you can buy the cars. And there is already cars in production. There's cars running around, as I said, in California. They're really big on hydrogen over there. There's garages. You just drive in and fill up, and away you go. And there's lots. If you go on YouTube, there's loads and loads of places where you can watch people driving them around, and you can hear what they have to say about them. So you've got an eco-friendly car that's not having to have cables across the pavements and out your window and all the other things to try and get a charge. And then when the national grid goes down, because and we start having blackouts because they can't cope with the capacity needed to charge all these vehicles, then you'll understand why you should be looking at hydrogen. But what's behind it? Is the government pushing the EVs and the electric cars for a reason, or is this some company that's going to make absolute fortunes? I don't know. I don't know what, but I feel it's been neglected. And proven technology with hydrogen engines, because it was in the 18 something that the first internal combustion engine, which was invented by a Frenchman, it didn't run on petrol, it ran on hydrogen. So it's proved and tested technology. Now, how do you fill one up? How do you fill a hydrogen car up, you might ask? Well, it's easier to show you than to try and explain it. So have a look at this.
How do you refuel a hydrogen car? A hydrogen refueling station looks a lot like a petrol station. In Germany, the US and other countries, hydrogen refueling pumps are located at conventional petrol stations. You can fill it like petrol or diesel car. A hydrogen bowser consists of a pump with a nozzle that clamps onto the car. Once the seal has been made, hydrogen gas begins to fill the tank. If the seal is not attached, it will not start pumping, making sure there is no leakage. Hydrogen refueling stations can fill a typical hydrogen car tank in about 5 minutes. This is an advantage over battery-powered cars, which can take a lot longer to charge. Is hydrogen the future of cars? Hydrogen is the most abundant element on the planet, and it is also the cleanest type of fuel, having powered engines long before 1807. How do you refuel a
So there you go, that's how you refuel it. Pretty good, isn't it? Eh? It's just like going to the garage like you with your petrol or your diesel car. Sticking the nozzle on and away you go, and your car gets filled up and you know. But they were saying, somebody was saying, oh no, boy, you know, it's highly explosive. But the actual storage tanks that are fitted in the cars, they're crash-proof tanks. And you know, if you think about it, what if you crash in a petrol engine car or a diesel, it could just explode. Isn't that that kind of fuel explosive and flammable as well? Of course it is. And also, I revert back to the batteries that you use in EVs, which are contaminants in the long run. I mean, we haven't even touched on how it's going to be disposed of, how they should be stored. Do you remember in the days when we first started using computers and the technology moved on and on and on, and then we had loads of surplus screens and all sorts of rubbish? And what they did is they put them in containers, shipped them off to Africa, again, African country, where kids and adults were reclaiming the bits of precious metals and getting diseases and dying of toxic, all sorts of rubbish. I can see that happening in the future with lithium batteries. People reclaiming the lithium or doing whatever it is they do to try and get some money out of it, and perhaps cutting corners and then contaminating the river and the air, and you know, they're toxic things, whereas with hydrogen there isn't anything like that. I mean, it's when you dispose of the car or the tank, it's just an empty tank once it's finished, isn't it? And the life is as long as, I don't know how long, but I know that the hydrogen car is much better. Now, I was wondering, you know, how do they make hydrogen? And I look for a little video, because it's easier to show videos. It is easier to show videos than to try and explain it. You know, seeing is believing. And the only one I could find was from Australia. Yeah, because they're into hydrogen too. And so instead of me explaining how hydrogen's made, and also I think they talk about it being transported as well, I thought I'd show you this little video that shows you how they make hydrogen. Or shall we say green hydrogen, because that's what we should be calling it. So how do they make it?
Hydrogen is the lightest and most abundant chemical element in the universe. It's naturally found in the sun, the stars, in water molecules, plants and animals here on Earth. In South Australia, we have abundant sun and wind that we turn into green energy. At certain times, we produce more green energy than we consume. We can utilize the excess green energy to produce green hydrogen. How do we do this? We use our excess power and electrolyzer. The electrolyzer needs water and electricity to operate. The electrolyzer breaks the water into hydrogen and oxygen, giving us green hydrogen, a clean, flexible and dependable energy source. The electrolyzer will operate during daylight hours when green energy generation peaks and will be turned off at night. The green hydrogen will be used to fuel a power station that can run when the sun is not shining and the wind is not blowing. How can we use green hydrogen? To power transport, trucks, ships and even cars. to power heavy industries and household appliances. Hydrogen can also be converted into green ammonia to make fertilizer to grow food. And we can trade hydrogen as clean energy in a global market. With 70% of our electricity coming from renewable resources, South Australia is set to become a global leader in producing and exporting green hydrogen. The state government is investing more than $750 million to accelerate new hydrogen projects and shipping infrastructure in the Upper Spencer Gulf region. This investment continues South Australia's global leadership in renewable energy as we work towards our target of net zero carbon emissions by 2050.
And there you go. That's how they make hydrogen. And there's other ways as well. Tell you a little story. My brother in the UK, he's a mechanic, and he likes to mess about with things. He actually made an engine, or he wanted to produce lithium, and he did it in his front room, and he blew his front room up. But hey, I digress. You can't be serious all the time. So think on. Why are they pushing all these EVs with all the problems? It's like everything else they do. They seem to want to complicate things when the solution is there. How long would it take to put another tank in a garage with storage for liquid lithium, which is, I think they turn it into a liquid. It can also be made into fertilizer as well, so you know it's got plenty of uses, old hydrogen. I saw in America that they actually have a plant, like they have the garage that you go to to fill up your car. But the actual plant for making the making the hydrogen is in the garage. It's a big machine in a big box, and it makes it on site. So they don't even have tankers coming to deliver it. And tankers can run on. There's already a lot of heavy machines that do run on hydrogen. As I said, Lord Bamford, he's the man who's actually he's a bit of an hero for me because. He's invested a lot of money, and JCB are really forward. But there's lots of other companies now. I think even Elon Musk is creeping into it. I know BMW are. And so before you buy that expensive car with a big battery in it, they remind me of bumping cars, think on. You could probably do better lobbying people into storing hydrogen and buying a hydrogen car. Anyway, that's a bit of a serious. So I've got another topic to talk about, but let's have a kind of little bit of a break now. Hopefully this is going well. I will be putting it on the on YouTube, but the problem is the first bit will be missing because, as you know, if you've just started watching, I had a catastrophe, and I still don't know what I sound like. I just know that the microphone is it is broadcasting, and we are going out, which is good, and hopefully we can continue to the end of the show. It would have been a lot better if I could hear what I was doing, but I can't. I'm an old soldier. I'm not a soldier at all. I'm an old boy. I'll get on with it, you know. I'm going to do one show every week, and hopefully by next week I will be more au fait with what's gone on and get it all corrected, so we can have a much smoother and a much better program. We talked about hydrogen cars. We have a little bit of fun now, but because if you're watching, I'm going to do something that I'm going to do every week, which is I want to find out the hero of the week. The hero of the week. Let's go to the hero of the week show. There we go. Now what I've done, you can see there. I think we should have. I don't know if that's. Oh no. Sorry. We should I can't hear it, so I don't know. But anyway, a bit of a fanfare there for the hero. Now, best before TV's hero to zero. I don't only want the hero, I want your zero. The worst person of the week as well. Now, I've being pretentious because it's the first time I've done it. All you got to do is I had it all set up so that you could actually do it online and you could speak to me and all sorts of stuff, but it's all gone wrong. But anyway, you can see there at X, which is X is Twitter. It used to be Twitter. Best before T. You can send your nomination for hero and your nomination for zero there, or you can go to the Best Before TV Facebook group, which is Best Before TV, as it is written there. Or you can just go on the website, and there's on the Best Before TV website where you could be watching it now. There's a thing which you can type stuff into, and you can put it on there. But I've nominated. These are my nominations for Hero and Zeros of the Week. And my first Hero of the Week is Ben Habib. Anybody heard of Ben Habib? What a man. Although, he comes from Pakistan, and but he's more English than I am. He really believes in English values. He was an MEP. He's staunchly against this illegal migration that's going on and all the other things. He's such a guy, and he's hard, and he's also a member of the new Reform Party. Now, as number 4, I put Richard Tice, who's the leader of the Reform Party, but I think Ben Habib's better. So that's the way I've done it. That's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm sorry, Richard, but that's how it is. But Ben Habib, check him out. What a guy! And what he says is pretty good. Also, Lord Bamford, well, I've spoke about him because Lord Bamford of JCB is invested in hydrogen cars, and he's put a lot of money, and a lot of development in, and it's getting there. So people like him deserve it. Also, Mike Graham. Now, if you've never heard of Mike Graham, you probably haven't. There's him and a guy called Kevin O'Sullivan. They work on Talk TV. Talk TV, which is I think it's owned by Times, or I don't know, but Talk TV. And I watched him in the morning, and he's a man who says, he says it the way that if you were talking to somebody in a pub about the state of affairs, that's how he does it. It's like you're talking to somebody in a pub, and he's really, well, he's good to watch, and I like watching Mike Graham. So I put Mike Graham as my number 3. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 heroes. Now, who are zeros? The zeros for me are Keir Starmer. He doesn't know his arm from his elbow. I nearly said the wrong word then. And his sidekick, Angela Rayner. Angela Rayner I could go into, but I don't like to rubbish people, but I'm just saying, for zero, she's number 2 for me. Mick Lynch. If you live in England, you know who Mick Lynch is. He's the one who stops you going on the trains because he's always got them out on strike. I mean, the man's... It's all political driven. I think he's a communist anyway. And of course, Gary Lineker, who's got a lot to say about everything, but doesn't put his money where his mouth is. So those are my zeros. So if you want to get involved, and I don't know if there's anybody watching tonight now after what happened at the beginning, but if you're still watching... bestbeforetv@gmail.com. You can send your nominations there for Hero to Zero, or you can go to Best Before TV at Twitter, or as it's known now, X, or through the Facebook group, which is in Facebook obviously, and just find Best Before TV, and you can join in that one and have comments and talk about the programs and all the rest of it. Failing that one, if you're watching this on the website, you can actually leave your nomination on the website. I was going to get on and talk to people about it, but unfortunately, it's all gone wrong. Never mind, eh? It says I've got 2 viewers on there. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. Why did it go wrong? We will know. But let's get on with my my next topic. Now, people think because we're older, we're stupid. Well, we're not. We're not. Or should we have a bit of light-hearted stuff before we go? Because this is it's not heavy, but I'm taking the mickey out of being woke. Because I don't even know what it means. I really don't know. And I found some videos, and I'm going to stick them on, and you decide, because I don't know. Well, before we go there, I'm going to do a little thing called I Don't Believe It. Okay, right now, with a bit of luck, you should have, that's it, one of them, and I don't believe it. Yes, I don't believe it. Facts that are true, but I don't believe it. But did you know it's physically impossible for you to lick your elbow? You're all doing it now, aren't you? Yeah, it's impossible. You can't lick your elbow. You cannot do it. And another thing, these are all true. I didn't believe it either, but it's true. Now, dueling is legal in Paraguay, so you can have somebody out to a duel, you know. But it's legal as long as both parties have been registered as blood donors. Well, what can I say? Oh dear, dear, dear. I've got a few more to tell you. Yeah, let's have a look at what we got here. Now, did you know, and this I didn't believe it, but I believe it now, that there are 366 dimples on a regulation golf ball. You didn't know that, did you? Didn't want to know it, but it's true. It's true. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Did you know there is a town called Calama has never experienced rain? No, it's not because of climate change. Don't say that. It's because it's a desert. It's found in the Alcama Desert in Chile, and they've never seen rain. What about that? Hey, there was a song about that, wasn't there? But there you go. Another interesting, or not so interesting, stupid fact. Right, what else have we got? What else have we got? Yes. Did you know, and I didn't believe this, but it's true, lightning strikes the earth 100 times each second. Each bolt contains up to 1 billion volts of electricity. This calculates to about 8 million lightning strikes per day. Not in my place though. Perhaps you get them. But anyway, there you go. That is, I don't believe it. Well, you got to. Because it's true. Right, we'll have enough of that. Enough of that.